stage, we can go ahead and open Maya and also see how to start set fitting the nodal pen shot within Maya 3D Space. Before we continue with the set fitting in Maya, you have to remember that no matter what it is that you do in Maya, you always have to make sure that you set up the proper project. And now we can go ahead and start off with the nodal pen shot. So I'm going to File, Open Scene, and in here, I'm going to choose the Maya file we exported for the nodal pen shot. And right now, what we have is exactly what we saw in PFTrack 3D Space, which is the camera that has the rotating camera around the y-axis, and of course the point cloud that represent the rotation of the film gate. And again, that film gate is what is known today as the image sensor. And if I hit the space bar, I'm going to switch Maya to the quad view, and let's take the top and change it to what the camera sees. Notice that PFTrack exported the Maya file with the direct path to the undistorted footage. So what you can do now, you can click on the show film gate, and now you can clearly see the undistorted footage being piped in as the image plane. So now we're ready to work and start adding geometry to set fit this. But you're probably asking yourself, okay, in different courses in VFX Tutored about PFTrack and the set fitting, we saw that the point cloud actually represents the scene as it was shot on set. But in here, if we go to the top view, the point cloud only represents the rotation path of the film gate or the image sensor. So how can we make sure that whatever we do in Maya is going to match to the footage? Well, as a matter of fact, it's actually easier now to match the geometry to the footage because we're not obligated to a point cloud that is spread around the 3D space. So if we switch back to our quad view and we look at the camera again, we see that we have trackers on the window sill on the corners and on the side of the house. And we also have trackers on the other opposite houses that are across the street. And under the Polygon tab, you can click on Polygon Plane, and that's going to create a polygon plane at the center of your 3D space. You can take the Scale tool from the toolbox, and you can scale it up a bit. And I'm going to leave the divisions, the subdivisions of the width and height on this object. I'm not going to change it right now. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to rotate it 90 degrees by going to the channel box, rotate X 90 degrees, and now we can take our grouped camera, and in the grouped camera, I'm going to change its pivot point to one of these points around the windowsill, probably this point right here. I'm going to switch my view here from shaded to wireframe by clicking on this button right here. And I'm working again in the quad view, and I'm holding V on the keyboard and snap it to one of the vertex points on the plane. So we can see that so now that we have the perspective initially matching to what we have on screen, then we can take our grouped camera, take the move tool, and just slightly lower it by a sheer small movement of the mouse in order to have this tracker sitting at the corner of the polygonal plane. Now, suddenly our image plane had disappeared and we get an error message. Now remember that our image plane, if I select the camera again and I go back to its attributes and I go to the image plane here, remember that our image plane stops at frame 82 and yet Maya's timeline continues to 150. So I can take my timeline length and shorten it to 82 so we cover the entire progress of the image sequence. So now that this window fits, I can go ahead and continue modeling the rest of the house. So if I go to the perspective view and I highlight my little plane here and I hit F on the keyboard for focus, then I can right click and select the edge, double click on one of the edges. It will select all the edges around this object. And now I can click on the extrude and take my move tool and extrude it just a little bit because that windowsill has a bit of thickness to it. Once this has been done, I can hit the extrude again and take my scale tool and extrude those edges. Now this process is also known as image modeling, and we do have a whole course dedicated to image modeling at the regular level. So I can take these group of vertices and push them down, and then select less vertices and push those down, and just continue with the modeling of that specific wall. And then I can take this line of vertices and push it to continue with the wall. And I can continue and model the rest of the house based on what I see in the footage. So there you have it. This is how we deal with the nodal pen shots. Now we can save this file and send it down the pipeline to the people that need to do the layout. And after that, we can open up our zoom shot. So we saw how to set fit the nodal pen shot in Maya, and we also discussed the interesting formation of the point cloud within the 3D space. So in the next video, we're going to set fit the zoom shot.